Hi, my name is Brendan Cox. I'm here to demonstrate to you guys how to surf, the techniques, the proper equipment, and then some other cooler things you can do once you get the hang of it and stuff. So I've been surfing for about 6 years of my life already. I find it as a very healthy and fun hobby to do over the summer. I even do it in the winter, but I'd recommend starting in the summer because a wetsuit is very expensive. I think it's actually a lot easier than people say it is, and I think like anybody could do it. A lot of people make it look harder and all this. I think it's really just about determination and patience while you're out there. So when I first get to the beach, I usually wait about like 5 minutes before going into the water. I could check out the way the waves are, see where they're breaking, the kind of waves they are, all that kind of stuff, which is important for a surfer to know. Then I paddle out there. It's important when you paddle out there to paddle, with alternating arms like this. You don't want to go at the same time like this because you'll lose your momentum, which will take you a lot more effort and time and all that to get out there. And then when you're trying to catch a wave, make it a lot harder to catch a wave without generating that momentum from the alternating arms. So once you paddle out there, you can sit on your board, catch your breath if you need to and all that once you're past the break. And it's all about waiting it takes a lot of patience. You have to wait for the right wave. As National Geographic states, a wave must be strong enough to ride, but not dangerous enough to knock the surfer and send him flying on the break. Because you don't want to, it's not going to be fun if you're just catching the wrong wave and it's just breaking you, flopping your board over, and you're just flying and tumbling and then paddling back out and doing it again. So make sure you wait for the right wave. You wait for the wave, you want to start paddling when you see it, but you don't want it to break on you, so you want to catch it before the break so you can ride it, and then when it breaks, you can ride it through the break, as opposed to catching it when it breaks and it'll send you flying. I'll talk about more of the equipment you need. For beginners, I recommend a longboard. As Board Cave USA states, when it comes to selecting the perfect board for beginners, the most important thing is about buoyancy and its ability to catch waves, which I started with a longboard. That was a foam top because that gives you a lot of float, and the longer boards also have a lot more buoyancy and a lot easier to catch waves and generate momentum, which makes it easier for paddling. So I'd recommend starting with the longboard. There's also the proper equipment you need. Like you have to make sure you have a leash. Like Iron stated, a leash, get one that's at least the length of the board. Because if you don't get one that's the length of the board, if you have to move up or down on a wave, you actually won't be able to because the leash will restrict you, which will throw off your balance, spin the board sideways, sending you tumbling through the wave, which once again, not really the fun part of surfing. You don't really want to be falling down all the time and stuff. But as you know, you get more experience over the years, you can get a short board, which is what I personally use now. I used a long board for about 3 years, and I've been using my short board for the past 3, but I still use the long board depending on the kind of surf and stuff. But the short board gives you a lot more ability to move around in the waves and stuff, which brings me into my next topic, which is about ripping and carving waves, or some people even refer to it as turning. So you definitely you can do it with a long board, but it's significantly easier to do with a short board, which is what I would recommend. It also takes a lot of patience and confidence. You need to be confident and determined in what you're doing, but you also need the patience to wait for the right wave, because not all waves you can carve and stuff, depending on the size and the shape and the way it was formed and all that. I recommend starting on smaller surf, because when you wipe out, it's a lot harder to do on smaller surf, but when you wipe out, it's a lot less painful and it makes it a lot easier to get back up and do it again. As Trans World Surf states, tiny surf is really unforgiving when it comes to turning, which when they say turning, they're referring to carving or ripping. All three of those are the same thing. But when you're doing it on the short, it's a lot harder because you have a lot less room to make the turns and stuff. But if you can learn on the tiny surf and get through that frustration, then when you go to the bigger surf, you won't be wiping out as constantly, and it'll be a lot easier to do it on the bigger surf. In conclusion, I just hope you guys found this very helpful and informative. I think it's a very good hobby that we can all pick up in the summer. As long as you have the proper equipment, like the right board, a leash, you have the patience for waiting for the right waves and using the right techniques like paddling out there and stuff. And then if you could even get up to it by the end of the summer, I think ripping, turning, and carving is a lot of fun out there on the waves. Thank you.